are you? My name's Samantha. This is the Khaos and Kismet podcast. This is my little place on the internet where I talk about all the crafty things that I've been up to. It is predominantly crochet and knitting, but I do other crafts as well, so they will also make an appearance. All of my details will be down below, as will all the details of anything that I talk about, anybody that I talk about. It should all be down there. If I forget, because I do forget things, I have ADHD, so it's in there. It doesn't always come to the surface. If I do forget, just pop me a message, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment anyway. Say hi. Let me know what you're up to. I have just moved house. For anybody who has not been here before, I have just moved house, which is why there is such utter chaos in the background. If you are one of my regular viewers, I'm sorry. I know I said I'd be back last week. Everything's just been such chaos. I haven't really had much chance to do some crafting, so I didn't come back last week because I didn't have anything to show you. And as you can see, everything is more chaos than usual. Oh, I got Lilith a new cage to put there so that she could sit in my workroom with me, because I had like a little mat. Like, this is my front door, by the way, so if you see people walking past, it's fine. Don't panic. But I had a little mat down there, just there, and she kept sitting on that rather than sitting, because it's laminate flooring in here, and she kept sitting on that, so I got her a cage. Do you think she's set foot in that cage? No. What's she doing now? She's on the sofa on her back. Anyway, I'm just going to waffle because I've honestly, even now, it's been a month since I've podcast and I've got barely anything to show you. However, life is now starting to get a little bit more settled and I am starting to be able to craft again. So, normal service should be resumed. Normally, I would do a Stitcher Library on Sunday and then I would do a podcast on the Monday. Obviously, I didn't do Stitcher Library yesterday. That's just for this week. I thought, since I don't have that much that I've done, but also because it's been a while since I've recorded, I thought I would just do one like catch-up podcast, and then next week I will go back to Sundays will be a Stitcher Library, Mondays will be a regular podcast, and I'm going to start on Fridays doing my floss tubes again. I had done some floss tubes before, but I was doing them monthly because of the way that my stitching rotation worked, where I was just like doing a project for a week and then rotating into the next project and next project. I've changed the way that I do my stitching now, so I'm going to give this a go and try it for a little bit. And the first, it's more of like a vloggy style where I just do little snippets and then I edit them together and I spin a wheel to decide what I'm going to be stitching that day. So that's exciting. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. It's giving me my stitchy bug back again. So that will be on Fridays. And yeah, so it's nice to be back and be settled. And I know I have all this chaos, but it's fine. I can do stuff. I have my sewing machine right here next to me. I have, as you can see, lots of my yarn is around me. I've got stuff over there and I've got storage over there as well. So I have plenty of space for my stuff. I have an actual room that I can do stuff in now, which is fantastic. After I'm finished here, I'm going to be doing some sewing, get some project bags made, because the Halloween hat smell is finished. This is the first thing I want to show you, is my pathetic attempt, my first make along that I was running with the lovely Jenny. And I feel so bad. I do. I feel so bad. Oh. So Jenny from Stitch Craft Gifts, who is lovely, and I've mentioned her lots of times before. she had contacted me about a mal, and I was like, yes, this is a fantastic idea, let's do this. And then I moved house and fell off the face of the planet. So she's a wonderfully patient person. So I did not complete anything. I didn't. We were doing it as a joint thing. I was running it on my Discord server, which was also, that'll be linked down below, and she was running it through Ravelry. I believe she has already done a video and she has picked her winners from the Ravelry. I only had 2 people on Discord because I have slacked so badly. So I have decided that the 2 people on Discord for my nonsense both deserve a prize. So I'm going to be making project bags for them and sending some little goodies off. And then I will also be making project bags for... What is this? What is this nonsense popping up on my computer? Something decided to update. My Razor stuff has decided that it wants to update while I'm in the middle of recording. Anyway, I will be making project bags and sending them off to Jenny, and she will send them off to the winner of her side of the make along. I had some lovely entries on mine and I feel really bad that I didn't get to do it. I'll show you the first thing. There we go. This was going to be my entry. This was going to be the thing that I was making. The Twisted Witch Hat by Stephanie Picorni, who's Crochetverse. And look, it's an amazing hat. You get this... I keep clicking on the wrong screen. You get this add-on as well with these little gills on the bottom. And there's a Christmas version. So this is what I had planned to make, and I bought this pattern such a long time ago. And I kept planning on making it, and would you like to see how far I got? It's quite embarrassing, really. The yarn I chose just a plain black mixed with this. This was something that I bought on a whim. It's Red Heart. I can't know, it's like Blacklight or something it's called. I know that Red Heart is like super common and popular in the US, but we don't really get it here. And it's only been in the last couple of years that I've even seen much in the way of Red Heart. So I got this last year, maybe. And I decided that I was going to make this hat with it last year. I didn't make it then either, obviously. So I've made it this year. No, I haven't. I've started making it this year. And held in these two together because they're both Aran weight, worsted weight. And you're supposed to hold them together. And this is how far I got. So this is the top, and then it's supposed to go down here, and yeah, this is how far I got. But look how cool it looks. So I am absolutely still going to make a project with these. Now the problem is, let me show you again on the picture. See all these like little ridges? This is the bit there that I've done, that this curls round. But can you see all the ridges on it? I got to the bit where the ridges start, and because of the way that it's asking me to do the ridges, my brain... Oh my god. I consider myself to be quite an intelligent person, but I also get very overwhelmed when I have a lot of things to do, and I think that's what's been happening, because I'm reading this pattern and I've never had a problem reading crochet patterns at all. Even when I first started crocheting, I've always been able to read patterns. And I looked at it and I'm saying, this makes no sense. And I've looked at it again and it's like, well, it makes sense, I just don't know how to do it. and my brain just couldn't function. It just wouldn't. It was like, nope. So I'll put it away. And that's it. That's all I've got for the make along. Everybody else managed to do something, and I just didn't even know. That's it. That's all I managed. So thank you to everybody who actually joined in and did a much better job than me. And thank you to Jenny for your infinite patience, and I will do better next time. It just happened to be really bad timing. I'm so sorry. Right, let's show you something I actually did finish. I have one thing that I've finished, and this is this, the Dragon Belly Shawl by Joanna Lindell. And as you can see, it is a textured shawl. It was lovely to work on. I really enjoyed it. Obviously I haven't sewn my ends in. Let's show you the right side of it. So I had some of this yarn, and I've had this for ages, and it's an ice yarn, and it's just all these like different shades of grey. There we go. You see the texture in it there. This is the back. So the back is still nice, but it doesn't have the texture. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, and this is what I was doing for my Stitch Your Library thing. But yeah, wrong way around. It's quite big, and you can just keep going. It starts off up here, and then you just keep going until you run out of yarn. I used, I think, just under 200 grams, but the yardage on this yarn is quite big. So, but it's just a really nice size for, made an absolute mess of that, alright? Right, this is what it looks like. I haven't done my ends, because I just haven't. But it's really nice. You'd be able to do this with any weight of yarn as well. This is done in a DK. But you could also do it, if you wanted a chunkier one, do it in a worsted. I think an actual chunky might be a bit thick for it. But if you wanted it a bit warmer, do it in a worsted weight, iron weight. If you didn't want it quite so big, do it in a 4-ply fingering weight. It's really nice, really easy pattern. Highly recommend. And that is my finished object. I have a half finished object, the sock. This is my Dalaran socks. This is the yarn that I'm using. This, ooh, it's tangled around my headset, sorry. Because this is my, when I'm sitting at the PC playing World of Warcraft, and I'm doing anything where I'm like waiting around, this is what I'm knitting on now. I've done the toe. I'm now at the point where I just do round and round and round. I use stitch markers on the foot because with my tension I need 6 to 8 rounds for my foot. So I do the toe and then I put a marker in, and then every 10 rounds I'll put another marker. And then when I'm doing the second sock, every 10 rounds I just transfer the marker from this one to this one. So I don't really need to count too much, which is nice. Just plain vanilla socks, toe up, fish lips kiss heel, and I think I did like 10 rows of ribbon because I just get really bored doing ribbon. I don't like doing it, so I don't have very much ribbing. I should do it longer really, but yeah. Also, I have a problem with one of my legs. It swells up really badly sometimes, so I don't like having socks that are too tight, which is one of the reasons why I like hand knit socks, because they're stretchier, because they don't have the elastic in them. And a lot of like shop bought socks tend to cut into my ankles when my feet swell up. So See, old lady problems. So there we go, that's my sock. I've showed you that before. I still haven't finished it. It'll get there. It'll get there eventually. Oh, I do have other finished objects. I forgot. Right, so let's move these out of the way. So I moved here. I moved from Wolverhampton to Loughborough, and I have never even been to Loughborough before. Again, if you've been here before, you'll know the hassle that I've had with the house thing. The house I was in before wasn't fantastic, but it was a house. And then they gave me notice to move so that they could do stuff to the house. And I really, really struggled for like 6 months to find somewhere to live. And I had to cast the net wider and wider and wider. Ended up, this lovely lady called Wendy in Loughborough decided that she would take a chance on me and rent me a house, which was fantastic of her, and she's a really nice person. So I'm in Loughborough, but I've never been to Loughborough before. I don't know anybody here. It's a small town. It's about the same size as the town that I grew up in, which is like perfect for me. And so I decided that I was going to have a little nose around and see if I could find like a local yarn shop or a craft shop or anything like that, just to see what I have around me. Turns out that just 10 minutes up the road, there's a shop called the Purple Pumpkin Patch. And it's run by a really nice lady called Sarah. So I went in just to buy, I had to get like a ball of yarn for a blanket that I'm working on. So I went in, and it's a very small shop. She does also sell stuff online, and she makes things, and she has an Etsy shop where she sells just bits and bobs from the shop, but also things that she makes. And we got chatting a bit, and she's lovely. And one of the things that she does is she takes in yarn donations, and she gets people to make blankets, and then they bring the blankets back to her, and she donates them to, depending on the size of blanket, depends on when it gets donated to, if that makes sense, because obviously different places have different needs. And so it ranges everything from like animal places to like homeless adults to like newborn babies to like babies that didn't quite like make it. And it's a sad thing that things like this are needed in this day and age, but they are needed. So I said to her, like, I know you don't know me, you've just met me, but I've just moved here, and you know, I would happily make some blankets for you, because what I'm finding is that I like to make blankets when I'm just sitting and I need something to do with my hands, like mindless granny stitch blankets. But I don't really sell an awful lot of blankets, and when you're selling blankets, you don't really get the money that they're worth. So although I enjoy making the blankets, they're not great. I know some people, that's their entire business. And it's just not really worked for me ever. I do sell some occasionally, but they're not like a big part of things that I sell. Does that make sense? I enjoy making them, but the time to money ratio from a business point of view is not great. All that to say, she's sent me off, and she's like, it's fine, you seem nice. So she sent me off with this big massive bag of yarn, and what she sent me off with, she was like, it's probably enough to make a lap blanket. She sent me blanket yarn, right? So the first thing I did was sorted them all out into different, because you get different weights of blanket yarn. So first of all, I sorted them out into the weights, and then I thought, right, okay, we had two thinner ones one thicker one, and the rest were all kind of the same-ish. So I set them out in a nice colour order, and I thought, okay, we'll just do one nice big blanket. The two thinner ones I held together, which is these. It's like a white and an off-white. You can barely see the difference between them when you hold them together. So by the time I'd finished them, I started on the next colour, and I thought, well, that's quite big already, isn't it? And I was like, it's maybe just because these ones are thinner. They've got more yardage on them. Okay, so we'll make a blanket, a baby blanket, and then I saw the ends on this as well. I'll make a baby blanket, and then I'll use all of the rest to make another blanket. Except what happened with this one was I used the last little bit of purple in there, then I used the one ball of this, and then I used the yellow, and this ended up with the blanket this size. Right, okay, I think that's a fairly decent size lap blanket. See, you can tell though, see, it's got a little lump in the middle because this purple one is slightly thicker than this one, which I didn't realise until it was too late, and I didn't want to rip it back. So we have those two blankets, and I still have, let me put these back in here. And I still have this pink, this green, and this was like the really thick one. So what I thought was all of this was going to go together, and then I could use the really thick one just as a border. But I'm going to end up with 3 blankets. Which is fine. This is a good thing. It means that we end up with 3 blankets. I just think it's hilarious that she's like, yeah, it might be enough for a lap blanket, and then I get 3 blankets out of it. But it's great. It's been nice just to sit, because I've had so much else going on. It's nice just to sit and do granny stitch, because I don't really need to look when I'm doing a granny stitch, and I can sit and crochet away. And this is a sort of yarn, called in fluff now. This is the sort of yarn that I don't buy this. I don't buy blanket yarn. But it's been nice to work with, and I've not had any bother with shedding, or I don't know the brands of any of it. It all came with no labels. It's just all stuff that's been donated. So yeah, I'm going to get that one finished, get it sent up to her. And because like I say, it's a 10-minute walk. It's not even a 10-minute drive, it's a 10-minute walk from here. My car has been sat out the front, and the only time I have used my car since moving here is to take the kids back through to Wolverhampton to see their dad. Because everything's just in walking distance. It's great. Right, do I have anything else to show you? Oh, I do. I found these little baskets. I went into Aldi to pick up a couple of bits, and I had these in the middle aisle, and they were only $1.99 each. So there was 2 of them there, and I picked up 2 of them. They're like really sturdy, just rope baskets, but they're making nice little yarn bowls for me right now. So I have 2 things left to show you. So this is all over the place. I am absolutely just waffling. I'm so sorry. Right. This is another thing that I'm doing for Stitch Your Library. This is like my main Stitch Your Library thing. As you can see, discontinued. The digital partner is no longer available online. Now, I'm not sure what happened. Let's have a look at the other projects so you can maybe see. I think maybe this one you can see it quite well. See, it's got like the mesh sleeves on it. So this is my main like Stitch Your Library thing that I'm doing. I don't know what happened, but Andy Satterland used to have an absolute, is it Sutherland? Let me just check that. Yeah, Andy Sutherland. She used to have tons and tons and tons of knitting designs on Ravelry, and she had like a very 50s vibe going on, 40s, 50s kind of vibe, and she beautiful patterns. But something happened. I don't know if it was in like the great Ravelry departure or if it was something completely separate to that. I'm not sure. But all of her patterns are now gone. I've not been able to find them anywhere else online. I just don't think she's selling them anymore as a designer. But I happened to buy the book. It's got like 5 or 6 patterns in it. And if you buy something on Ravelry, even though that pattern has been taken down, you still have access to it because you've bought it. So Ravelry, this is good to know if you're a designer or if you buy patterns on Ravelry. If you've bought it, it's yours forever. Ravelry keeps it on the database so that the people who have bought it still have access to it. If you're a designer, it means that if somebody has bought your pattern, you can never actually get rid of that pattern. Even if it's a free pattern on there, if somebody has put it on a project page, then they might not be able to get the pattern anymore if it's been a free one, but your pattern will still exist. Pictures of it will still exist online. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So anyway, I'm doing this. I forgot to bring the ball of yarn through with me. It's Stylecraft Recraft recycled. It's a 40% wool. I think it's 40% wool, 50 acrylic, and 10 bits. I don't know. It's this kind of tweedy kind of look. This is the top, obviously. And yeah, I'm just getting on with it. It's supposed to have waist shaping. However, I've got quite a long torso and I didn't really fancy trying to work out where the waist shaping was supposed to go on me because I didn't want to use my brain that much. So all I'm doing is just knitting the body straight. Just knitting the body straight, and then it'll come down to like my hips because I'm going to have to knit it longer than she said anyway, because like I'm 5'9", so I'm not ridiculously tall, but I am taller than average, and I do have quite a long torso, so I'm just going to knit it until it gets like hip length, and then I'll do the sleeves as per the pattern and the little boat necky words collar thing, the rib around the collar. Oh my goodness, my brain. So yeah, this is one ball of yarn, by the way. This is one ball. And obviously I am not a tiny skinny person. I'm a UK size 20-ish. I'm saying ish because if you've ever like actually had to buy women's clothes in the UK, sizing is an interesting concept. So there we go. This is I think the colour for this is rose or dusty rose or something rose. I know it's the pink one, but it's lovely, really nice yarn to work with. And the last thing I'm doing is a ripple blanket. And again, this was cream when I picked it up. I thought it was cream. Apparently it's not, it's yellow. It's just a basic ripple blanket. Just using up some yarn that I had. So we have the yellow going into a pink, which will then go into a purple, which will then go into a blue. And then, I don't know about this. I might just leave it as the blue. Just to use up some some yarn. I know I've literally just said that I don't really sell blankets, but I still like making them, and there's a lot at the minute, so I need nice simple projects. And it's starting to get a little bit chilly as well, which is quite nice. It's lovely. I'm not much of a fan. I like some aspects of summer, but yeah, the heat not so much. I'm an overweight 43-year-old perimenopausal woman who doesn't really feel the cold in the first place, and now I also get hot flashes, which is fantastic. It's great. We went out walking. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of the pictures I put up of like the local area where I go walking the dog. And we went out last week, like me and my partner went out walking the dog at like 8 o'clock in the morning or something. And he's got about 12 layers on with jackets and hoodies, and he's got his hood up and he's got his jacket hood up, and he's like, ugh. And I've got like a sleeveless vest top on, and I'm just like, why are you cold? It's not even cold. It's just one of those things. I mean, he gets cold anyway. He's Italian, so the English weather is a bit he's been here for ages, but the English weather is not his favourite. And I grew up in, like, the house that I grew up in had a coal fire, and it was one of those houses where you put the fire on and it only heated up the one room. For whatever reason, it decided it was only going to heat up one room, and so the house got really, really cold in the winter. And because we live next to the sea as well, it was always like quite cold because there's always the breeze coming off the sea. So I got pretty immune to the cold pretty quickly, and yeah. Now I wear things like this because it's cozy rather than because I'm cold. That being said though, this house is a lot warmer than my last one. It's made a massive difference. The kids are really enjoying it. The kids are loving school. Sorry, I'm just like, well, I've got no more crafty stuff to show you. I'm just waffling now. I'm just going to waffle at you for a bit longer. The kids have settled into the school really well. They are both enjoying the fact that they've both made more friends here in the couple of weeks they've been at school than they had in their old schools. My youngest Alfie, he's 9 now. He's going to be 10 next month. So yeah, oh my god, he's going to be 10. Anyway, he's settled into his primary school, and I think he's enjoying the fact, because before the primary school he was at was the school that his brother had been at as well. So a lot of the teachers knew Kaylin, and they kind of judge Alfie on how Kaylin was, sort of thing. So I think Alfie's enjoying the fact that it's a new start and that school's just for him, if that makes sense. Yeah, he's he's enjoying it. He likes it a lot better. He said the kids are noisier, but it's because the kids play more and they're happier and everybody kind of plays together. Whereas at his old school, it was very, even though they're little kids, it was very cliquey. People were a bit mean. Nobody really liked to be happy and run around and play. And Kaylin says the same thing about his high school. His new high school is smaller than his old primary school, which is hilarious. He says everybody's like, people have like the best friends obviously, but everybody is friendly with each other, and he's like, it's great, it's amazing. And they have a Warhammer club at school as well, which he's very excited about because he enjoys Warhammer. Yeah, and everything's in walking distance. I'm going outside and I'm walking a lot, and it's great. Before, like long-term viewers might know, I have really suffered badly with anxiety and stress and all kinds of like mental things. And I think a lot of it was to do with where I was living, because one of the things that I struggled with before was going outside. I had really bad agoraphobia for a very, very long time, to the point where I couldn't go out and walk the dog in certain places because I would have panic attacks. I couldn't go out on my own without having a panic attack. And I've only been here a month, and that is significantly better already. I can walk to the schools to get the kids and back. I can walk along the canal by myself. It's perfectly safe. This is the sort of place that it's a university town, and there are young girls just out running by themselves, like earpods in, not a care in the world, and they feel safe running around here, which is great. It's fantastic, and everything's just in walking distance, so I don't even need to really drive places. The only time I think I would need to drive anywhere in the whole town is if I'm going shopping and I'm going to be buying stuff that's going to be too heavy for me to carry home. I have a supermarket 5 minutes across the road. It's fantastic. Town is like a 10-minute walk away, but I'm down a side street, so it's really quiet on my street. I have students on either side of me, but the kind of students where they knocked on the door at the weekend and said, we're going to have a few people around, if that's okay. I'll make sure they're quiet. I'll keep them in this room, and I'll make sure that they're out by 12. Unless you want them to be out earlier, then we can get them out earlier. And I'm like, okay. I nearly cried. I was like, that's so considerate of you. I'm like, no, it's fine. You're students, it's the weekend. Have a party. It's okay. But just like the people are different here. It's like, it's a small town kind of mentality rather than a rush city kind of mentality, and it is so much nicer. Like, I go out to walk the dog, and I'll always run into somebody and start talking to them, which was unheard of when I lived in Wolverhampton. Like, the only time you speak to people in Wolverhampton is if something bad is happening or they're being mean. So yeah, I mean, that's not everybody's experience in Wolverhampton, don't get me wrong. That has just been my experience of it. I'm sure there are people who live there and love it. Like, my ex loves it there. He can't understand why anybody would want to move away from there. But he's never lived anywhere else as well. So yeah. Everything's sort of settled down, and we've got Christmas sorted out. The way that, because I'm about an hour away from my ex now, so the way that Christmas has worked out with his work hours is kind of like worked out okay. I'm going to have the kids on Christmas Day, so that'll be nice. Alfie has picked a Nightmare Before Christmas theme. Last year I had them for Christmas dinner as well, and last year we had a World of Warcraft theme. So this year we have Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's going to be fun. Let's see, what else? I think that's probably it. There's probably like lots of things. Oh, excuse me. There's probably lots of things that I had planned on saying and then I have completely forgotten about. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to go because we're on 40 minutes nearly, and I have waffled, and it was a lot of waffling for very little things to show you. So upcoming this week, so today is Monday, I'll get this done and uploaded now because it is lunchtime. I'm going to go get some lunch. I'll be back on Friday with the vloggy wrap up for my week's stitching. I'll be back on Sunday with the Stitcher Library. I will be back next Monday with another podcast. I want to do Vlogmas this year as well. I've never done Vlogmas. I tried doing Christmas in July, not this year, but the year before, last year. And I did it for about half a month, or maybe a little more than half a month. And then the kids were on holiday. So that kind of didn't work very well. But I want to do Vlogmas this year. I was going to get an advent calendar. So I know I said I was going to go, but I'm still going to waffle for another few minutes. I was going to get an advent calendar. And then I was like, well, I have so much stuff. I don't need any more yarn. I don't need any more fabric. Like, I didn't realize how much stuff I had until I was packing it and trying to get it all in here. And I keep like discovering all these things that I had completely forgotten that I'd bought. And that means that I have too much stuff. So next year I'm going to go back on a no spending unless I absolutely need it for an order, and try and work through my stash a lot. But the advent calendar thing, I was like, well, I want to do Vlogmas, but I kind of want an advent calendar to open. But I also don't really want a yarny one or a fabric one or a cross stitch one, because I have so much of all of this stuff already. I don't want to get an advent calendar just for the sake of it. So what I have found instead, I've got a couple of advent calendars coming. They're just the little ones. They're not expensive. I got a tea one because I actually had a tea advent calendar last year and I really enjoyed it because you get to try lots of new flavours. So I have a tea calendar coming, and I have a hemline because it got really good reviews. People are saying like it's absolutely worth the money and it was really good. If you don't know, Hemline is a company in the UK. I think it's just in the UK. It seems like a UK company to me. It might not be. And they do sewing accessories, so things like tape measure, stitch markers, chalks, just like general things that you use to sew. And I thought, you know what? You can't really have too many of those things, like zips and pins and, you know, all that sort of stuff is stuff that I'm going to be using a lot of. And I thought that's probably a better idea to get something like that and have that as an advent calendar rather than just getting more yarn that I don't need or more fabric that I don't need. So hemline calendar, and I think that's it now. I'm pretty sure. Oh, one more thing. I swear this is the last thing. Look what I found. It's an amaryllis. So, slight little backstory. When my gran was alive, I used to buy my gran an amaryllis every year at Christmas time. And amaryllis is a winter flowering plant, and they start flowering from December to sort of March, April kind of time, and have these beautiful big flowers on them. Last year I didn't get to have one. So I used to buy one for my gran every year, and she liked the red ones because they were Christmassy. So I used to buy my gran a big red amaryllis, and she would grow it and she loved them and they were fantastic. And then after my gran died, I carried on getting one every year for myself. So yeah, I've got one for myself every year up until last year. No, the last 2 years. Last 2 years I've not had one because I couldn't physically get to a shop to buy one. I had to buy everything online, and I didn't really want to buy online. It's not the same. So this year I got myself an amaryllis. I found pink ones, sell them in Lidl. It was only like £4, and it comes with everything in it. Look. So I'm going to get that set up and ready to rock, and hopefully it'll start flowering, and I'm going to put it up here somewhere, and it'll be pretty and it'll make me happy. I need to find somewhere to put all this stuff so that I can get all my plants back. That's going to be, that is what I want over the course of the next year, is to get through enough stash so that I don't have all of this stuff that I have to store all the time. That's the big plan. Okay, right, we're now on 45 minutes. I'm going to go. I will see you on Friday for my floss tube. I'll see you on Sunday for Stitcher Library. I will see you on Monday for my next podcast. Have a wonderful week. Leave me comments. Let me know what you've been up to. Let me know what you're making. Or just say hi. And Discord as well. Pop over to my Discord and say hi on there.